Hello again, everyone. Edwin Learnard back once again. In this YouTube astrological segment, I'm going to be talking about the moon conjunct Pluto in a natal chart. Now, some of you may remember when I first started my YouTube astrology channel, I did a series on the aspects in a natal chart. They're a little bit concise, and some people may have referred to them as snappy. So what I decided to do was make another series on them in which the videos were a little bit longer, are going to be a little bit longer and more descriptive. So anyway, well, first thing up is, well, if you have the moon conjunct Pluto in a natal chart, the emotions, may be very powerful, intense. They could be turbulent, convoluted at times. There may often be an intense need, which is the moon, to attain, power and control, which is Pluto. If you have, let's say, Pluto is in the fifth house, it could be a lot of power and control. You may desire in matters connected with romantic partners and children, matters with speculation and investments. If Pluto is in the seventh house, it could be, competition related or matters with open adversaries. Could be your marriage, significant other, your important friends, as some other examples. Now, another thing too, and there may be a very, intense, much passion and desire, which is Pluto, to attain the emotional needs, which is the moon. Now, let's say if the moon is in Virgo, the conjunctions in Virgo, it could be, matters, connected with analysis, organization, compartmentalizing, things that require, doing diagnosis, health-related matters, health and fitness, as some examples. And the thing about, this too, I say this, conjunction with the moon and Pluto can be, paradoxical, in a way, because, you could have, because the moon is connected with the public and Pluto is power. So there may be some need, intense desire to be in the public light, but at the same time, the moon is connected with introversion. So there may be some, intense and a lot of passion, desire for introverted activities, having that private life as well. And another thing about this aspect is that, the the intense feeling you may have, which is the moon, it could be in matters with transformation, making a major change at some point. If you have Pluto in the third house, it may be tied in, with communication, or your general, going into a different neighborhood. It may be, maybe there's a need to transform vehicles, rebuilding cars, as some examples. If Pluto is in the 11th house, there may be some intense need to make some transformation of one's goals, aspirations, one's friends. If you have Pluto in the, let's say it's in the 9th house, it could be some transformation on one's philosophy, belief system. It could be a religion, at some point in time in one's life. Now, also too, if you have the moon conjunct Pluto in a natal chart, you may be very emotional, which is the moon, in matters, connected with crisis situations, which is Pluto. If you have Pluto in the fifth house, there may be some crisis you deal with at some point in time connected with children, romantic partners. It could be, if you have, let's say, if you have Pluto in the fourth house, it could be crisis connected with one's home, one's family life, as some other, examples. Now, also, too, if you have the moon conjunct Pluto in a natal chart, there may be, there could be something, with, the mother, and, support may be strongly integrated. It could be where you give a lot of support to your mother and your family as well. and also and or receive, a lot of support, from the mother, from the family. This is about a lot of, integration. When you have a conjunction in a natal chart, it's a lot of intensification, integration of energy. And if you have the conjunction in the second house, it could be, matters of support, with monetary matters may be very strongly and intensified. If the conjunction is in the eighth house, as another example, that support would be tied in with assistance with insurance, with taxes, as some other examples. And another thing too, there may be a very, strong, intense, expression of moral, emotional, monetary support. Pluto is about support to those that you're close to home with, which is the moon. Now, let's say if the moon is in Libra, as an example, those people that you're close to home with, maybe Libra, Sun, Moon, or Ascendant people, or simply embody the characteristics of the sign. It could be people that are very charming, tactful, diplomatic, refined, balanced, equitable, cooperative, peaceful, artistic, and compromising. As some examples, if the moon, say, is in Scorpio, as another example, those people that you're close to home with may be Scorpio, Sun, Moon, or Ascendant people, or embody the traits of the sign. It could be people, that are controlling, powerful, intense, resourceful, resilient, secretive, mysterious, probing, incisive, as some examples. Now, another thing too, if you have the moon conjunct Pluto in a natal chart, another way it may manifest could be there may be a very intense desire to nurture and care, which is the moon, for those that you're in intimate connections with, which is Pluto. Now, if you have, let's say, the conjunction, is in Sagittarius, those, there may be more enthusiasm and exuberance flavored with this, but also intimate connections, maybe Sagittarius, Sun, Moon, or Ascendant people, or embody the characteristics of the sign. It could be people that are very expansive, optimistic, jovial, jocular, blunt, sometimes even tactless, maybe even foolhardy. Um, it could be people that are very philosophical, as some examples. Now, another thing is that if you have this aspect, it could also be an aspect of surgery, which is Pluto. It could be on the chest, the breast, the ribs, the stomach, which is the moon, as some examples, or even the left or right eye, depending on gender, which is the moon. Now, another thing too is that if you have this aspect as well, another way it could be expressed, there may be some issues with dealing with coercion or corruption, or something with trauma, which is Pluto, may threaten one's safety and security, which is the moon. Now, let's say if the conjunction is in the fourth house, it could be more prevalent, the latter part of life, or it could be something connected with your home and your family life. As another example, if the conjunction is in the third house, say, it could be some matters that are connected, with siblings, with cousins, with neighbors, as some other examples. And also too, moon conjunct Pluto may also manifest in intimate connections, which is Pluto, may be very drawn to your unconscious side, which is the moon. Now, let's say if you have the moon in Sagittarius, that unconscious side, maybe one that's very expansive, buoyant, jocular, jovial, optimistic, and philosophical, as some examples. And also, to this aspect can indicate where you're really emphasizing responding, which is the moon. It could be to Pluto-related matters, whether it's something pertaining to taxes, insurance, wills, shared resources, as some examples. Anyway, people, that'll conclude this YouTube astrological segment. Until next time, Edwin Learnard saying stay well.